Welcome to the Hawkcast, produced by the ViewPoint, bringing you a view of students' lives here on campus. I'm your host, Hunter Bergman, web developer and reporter with
Josh Crim, editor-in-chief.
This is episode 4 with my friend all the way from Africa, from Burkina Faso. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your journey.
All right. My name is Abdulaziz Sour. I'm from Burkina Faso, West Africa. I got into United States in May of 2017 with F1 visa because I was willing to continue my studies here in United States, because back home, United States is like a dream for everybody because everybody want to accomplish what they're wishing to be in the future. So I said, okay, I got my bachelor degree back home in mining engineering, and after that, I told my family that I was gonna go to United States for, let's say, my master's degree and then whatever in mining. And then my dad was happy because knowing that your son has your son wants to do something that he does really like, and he was like, okay, supportive, and he told me, tell me whatever you need to get your visa and stuff like that. So I went to United States Embassy website and I tried to make some researches, and then I sent all my papers, works here all the way to New Jersey because I was planning to go there because I got my family, my host family in New York City. So, but it's kind of hard to get F1 visa when you apply in New York City because New York City is like kind of crazy city, and I don't think that you will make it there because people don't even think about going to school and stuff like that. So I applied in Seton Hall University in New Jersey, and then they sent me my I-20, and then I went to the embassy, and then for my interview, I did great. They said, okay, you're allowed to go study in the United States. And I told my family. I remember I got my visa on Tuesday, and I have to be here lately on Sunday because I have to start class next week. So I was like, okay.
It was kind of like a crunch.
And then my family, they did great. They did what they could to get me like a ticket and stuff like that, and then make everything ready. And then I took my flight on Saturday night, and then I got here on Sunday, on May 24th, yeah. And then the next day, I went to New Jersey. And then after that, I have to transfer to New York City because it's where I get my host family. So I transfer into School of Language called Spanish American Institute for, let's say, to learn English more because I'm originally speaking French. So I didn't know that much word in English.
So that's like your native language is French? Like that's the first language you learned?
Yeah, that's why we speak back home, school, and everywhere. Yeah, and then after that, I spent a year and a half learning English, and then I wanted to start college in New York City, but it's like a really crowded city, and then people are careless about education. And then all my friends, I got good friends and bad friends. Back in New York, when I was going to school to learn English, I was missing classes because I had, let's say, bad friends. And I didn't want that because my point was like to come here and go to school and get like good grades and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
So how did you weed out the good friends from the bad friends?
Because when you got to somewhere, you're trying to make friends because you don't know anybody, and it's like that's your struggle. So I was trying to make friends, and I made bad friends and good friends, and then I couldn't like tell them that I don't want to see you anymore. That's really rude from where I'm from. So it's really rude to say that to somebody. So I was trying to get rid of them. So what I'm supposed to do? Go move to somewhere else. But my host family didn't like that idea of moving all the way from New York to Nebraska because I didn't know anybody here. But my school advisor, he told me, oh, there's a school in Nebraska, Norfolk, called Northeast Community College. And then there's many students who used to be here, but they transferred to Norfolk, Nebraska. I was like, okay, so can I have their contact so I can message them and then see how life is like in Norfolk? How is it hard or easy? I don't know. So he gave me a contact, and I contact one of my friends here. Right now he is in Omaha in Bellevue University. And then he told me, yeah, compare Norfolk compared to New York City is like a huge difference. So if you want to study, that's the best place to come and study. I say, okay. And then he gave me like say Northeast Community College website. I went there and I tried to make some research. My first, I wanted to go for mining engineering. And then around New York, there's not that much school who giving like say mining engineering. The only one school was Columbia University, and that's really expensive, like $60,000 a year.
Jeez.
Oh man, I
talk
couldn't-
about,
Yeah.
expensive, and then you have to do several years of that
Yeah.
too, that's
So I couldn't
ball and
afford
chain.
that. So I was like, okay, so I can start like here at Northeast and later on transfer to South Dakota School of Mine. So I got here on, I think January 3rd of 2017. My first semester was in spring 17, so I started here at the end of my first semester. I say like I saw like I like more electricity than mining. Even though I have like bachelor in mining, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go. So now I changed my mind, so I would like to go for electrical engineering instead of mining engineering. So that's what I like to do since I was a kid. I was messing around with circuit wires and putting stuff like that, and people was amazed and was asking me, how do you do that? And then I was like, oh.
So explain a little bit of like life back home. Like what was the culture? What was the society like?
Life back home is like here in Norfolk. When I say here in Norfolk, because here, when you see somebody, you have to say hi and give a smile and stuff like that. Here, I can say it's almost the same like back home, but compared to New York, people are like really careless.
Yep, they're
about
focused on
yeah,
themselves.
they don't
that's
care.
it.
Even though you guys are neighborhood, they don't care about you. The only thing they care about is like money. If you have money, you guys can be friends. If you broke, you're not friends. Yeah. And then let's say back home, I can say it's like here because you're supposed to protect like a females. Same case here. And then
So what are some of the biggest differences between here and where you're from?
biggest difference is like the food. The food is really, really different. The only one place that is close to African food is Chinese. Yeah, they have like almost the same recipe. When I'm eating Chinese food, I feel like I'm eating African food. Yeah.
Little taste of home.
Yeah.
Nice. So is there like a lot of explain kind of like the political system over there?
The political system over there is like, because my Africa used to be colonies of, I don't know, British or French. My country used to be one of France. So it's like they're telling us that we independent, but we not independent because they keep tracking whatever we're doing. And then that's the main point, even though we all know that Africa has the most, how to say, underground that has more mineral than any continent, but we're still behind. Why? Because the political system is really, really bad back home.
Do you think the education system is also a big factor in that?
Education, I mean, like, even though you get like a degree and there's like, how to say, like my case, like somebody who would like to be mechanical engineers, like in my country, there's not like a lot of opportunity for you to go into that field. So most of people, they're focusing on like administration and then nursing and stuff like that. I think that we don't have like a huge field of engineering back home, yeah.
But just there's a lot of minerals because,
And then even though there's a lot of mineral, we don't have that much knowledge to extract those kind of like minerals because we have to call those who from Europe or somewhere else. We have some people who can do that, but most people, they're not back home, because when they're done study and then you're thinking about, okay, going back, maybe there's no a lot of opportunity for you. So many people rather stay where they finished than school. Like, I've got many friends who's in Europe, they done school, but they just coming back and going back and for Africa and in Europe because they don't want to stay in Africa because there is not a lot of opportunity. But they're thinking about getting what they need in Europe so they can have like a huge business in Africa. To be honest, if you have a good business in Africa, oh my gosh, I don't know how to say it, but it's really, really, really good.
It's because it's an underdeveloped country,
so there's like
there's a lot of
they're
market
hungry,
share.
They're hungry for that opportunity.
Yeah.
They have that there, and they really want it. And I think, like, what you're doing is awesome. Is taking your knowledge, and then I think you're hoping to go help back home and to start that and to give them what they need.
Right.
I think that's amazing.
Right. Let's say I changed from mining to electrical because when I think about my back home, there is like people who don't have electricity. And then my goal is to make people think less about electricity because I would like to build something that will be, how to say, will be fitting in my country because we have a lot of, how to say,
room for like in innovation and stuff like that.
Right. But compared to here, I can say
approximately how many people live in Burkina Faso in your like community? How big is that?
16 million
Oh wow.
people, yeah. And then it's
so
like
is Burkina Faso like the state or is that like the country?
Burkina Faso is like a country because we don't have states in Africa yet. Because when we're talking about states, like when many countries, I mean like two or more countries, come together. But we don't have that. We have just countries in Africa.
So on a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being as developed as the United States and 1 being like completely underdeveloped, what do you think like where you're like what do you think you would rate your country?
What do you mean? I didn't understand.
So like how compared to the United States, how underdeveloped is it compared to the United States?
I can say my country is like can say United States in 19th century. You know what I mean?
So they're a little far behind.
Yeah, it's a little far behind.
Just a little bit.
Not a little bit. I cannot say a little bit, but it's really far.
Really far behind.
Yeah.
So do you think, especially with the technological innovations, do you think that it'll be in the next couple of years? Do you think they're going to be speeding up to kind of make up for that?
I have faith on that because right now, youth in Africa, they're going everywhere to get knowledge. Mm-hmm. And then I know when they got that and then they're going to come back in Africa, I think it's going to be like a boom, like China, what China did in the past.
So we're trying to start a business.
Go out and then come back together so you can give what you have.
So that's your plan is you want to go back and kind of invest your knowledge back into the society?
Yeah, that's what I would like. But after graduating here, I would like to work here and see how things work and then have like experience.
Mm-hmm. And then you can take that over. So do you want to start your own company? Are you going to go your own route or are you going to kind of...
I would like to start my own company because back home everything is like easy and cheap now compared to here. Mm-hmm. So I would like to start my own company. That's my goal. Yeah.
Do you take any inspiration from any inventors that came before you or anything?
Yeah.
And who would those be?
Tesla.
Oh.
Tesla. Yeah. He's the one who was trying to find, let's say, a free energy for the whole world, but politicians, they didn't like that. Mm-hmm. So
do you think that the political system stifled as much innovation as possible? I mean, because think about it. He was such an intelligent person. Yeah. Do you think that he could have did it?
Yeah.
Or done it?
Yeah, because nobody was like able to, in 15th century, talk about Android or smartphone like that. They're going to be, bro, you crazy, right? So everything is like moving and keep moving. I would say like, yeah, he has like brain. Those who made speakers, computers, they have brain and 2 eyes. So he was like a human being. So and then a really really smart guy.
So he could picture the future.
Yeah.
He was a visionary.
Yeah.
So would you say that you have a visionary quality in you? Do you kind of see the future a little bit?
It's gonna saying that I will not say 100% or, but my goal is like I know my goal. I want to finish what Tesla started. That's my goal.
That's important. That's an
Yeah,
important goal.
that's
'Cause
a really
think
goal.
people don't understand that, like, electricity is a gateway to so many things.
Yeah.
On my laptop, I've got Google, and I can, and then obviously you have to have Wi-Fi too. But with electricity,
That's nothing if you don't have
Yeah.
the electricity.
exactly,
That's-
yeah, that's a
yeah.
small problem. I mean, just ship some routers over there.
And I think the big thing is renewable energy and sustainable energy, not what we have with these fossil fuels and the courses
Yeah.
we're on. The new, like, a power source for the whole world, not just coal burning and of other such renewable and sustainable resources that will continue to, for generations,
Yeah.
help the world and sustain the world.
And
And cleaner energy.
Exactly, not only clean energy, and people don't understand like electric vehicles have been around since vehicles were even created. It's like why are we so dependent on like oil and gasoline? Big business again.
Yeah, because let's say I have my company, and then I'm one of the powerful men in the world. Since my the stuff that I built works with gas, I don't want anybody to get rid of that. So
Yeah.
I would like to keep getting money. That's the point. Otherwise, they can make vehicle that's gonna work with just solar panels
And
or
water.
like
I mean,
waters,
hydropower is a thing.
use
too.
like a steam to turn the motors. There's many stuff that we can do to be more dependable on fossil fuel.
efficient.
Yeah, so I don't know, but my goal is to do this kind of stuff because I know we keep there's like adage, or I don't know how you guys saying it, like a saying say that we don't inherit the earth from our ancestors, but we borrowed it from our children. That means that we have to like say make everything possible to keep earth clean as much as possible for the future generation. So what we're supposed to do is like we're supposed to go, like you said, renewable energy like solar, winds, using hydroelectric energy, stuff like that. So we can reduce even, let's say, 5% of pollution on Earth. That would be something. But
Yeah, and that's a huge percentage.
yeah,
too.
that's a huge.
Just
yeah,
that's a big impact too. I mean, especially I think we should figure out a way to like plastics. I mean, I've been on beaches where it's just littered in bottles and all these things. And there's so many things you can do with plastic too.
Yeah, there's
I
many
mean-
things you can do with plastics. Let's say back home they build motorcycles and then they use plastics to make the design. And then even concrete, they're using plastic to design like a little bricks for your concrete. I mean, like in my country, they're trying hard to use plastic as much as possible, even using plastic for knobs, stuff like that. But I was surprised that here in United States, maybe I haven't seen that, but I don't think they use plastic that much for certain kind of like stuff that we use daily. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Bringing, like you said, your knowledge back, and think of how many lives you could potentially impact. I mean, that's a powerful thing.
Mm,
You think?
I don't think that. I don't think because we moving forward to the future of things are changing that much. I think that it's a system. There's like people who don't want, who trying to keep people in I don't know how to say it, but it's like
In the darkness.
in the darkness, so they can keep doing whatever they want. But it's like
For their own monetary
Yeah,
gain. So they
right.
can make their pockets bigger
Yeah.
while it's not doing anything really good for the world, essentially, but it's making them richer, so they don't care.
they don't care about other people. All they care about is themselves and then their family. If you're not part of them, so they don't care about you.
Definitely. So what's a couple like culturally like? Do you guys listen to like the same music, and things like that? Like, what do we jam out to back home?
The problem with in Africa is like many people think Africa is still look like what they're showing you because they don't want you guys to come over and see how we guys really enjoying life over there. Because my first time when I got here, I almost cried because many people here they think they're living, but they're not. You work for rent, you're doing everything for rent, but back home it's totally different. And then there's like even though they don't have the same technology like here or Europe, they still have like a joy of life. And then Africa is the continent that is ready to accept anything from anywhere. Like back home, we listen more music from Europe and then United States more than ones from Africa. Even in nightclubs or you going, let's say, concert, even though the guy is from your country, sometimes they're gonna put like Europe music and then United States music before the guy starts singing. So it's like
Because that's one of the things that we've noticed. You know, we interviewed our friends from Brazil, and they jam out to the same music as we do.
same music.
Mm-hmm.
I think like the problem here is like here in United States, you guys are kind of closed. I'm saying that because according to me, you guys missing a big, like a huge stuff. What's going on the earth because you guys just focusing on United.
Us.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we let our ideas and stuff go
And
but
then
nothing come in really.
Yeah.
We just kind of do our own thing, and I've noticed that myself, and then even talking to others like we have, is that we just aren't
We're
always
so
ready.
hard-headed. Like we
Yeah.
don't want
We're
to
not ready
open
to
our
accept-
ideas and stuff.
yeah, that's a main. I'm not saying it's a problem, but it's like when you give, you need to get back. But when you're giving and then you don't get back, so at
You're
the
missing a
end,
bunch of
yeah,
resources. You know, there's so many things that we're missing out on.
That's
you know,
true.
and like culture, like you know, we were talking with our Brazilian friends, like you know, they hug, you know, they show their affection,
Yeah.
and that's one thing that our culture, you know, doesn't really do is like we don't show our affection. I mean, sometimes we do, you know, through different ways, but we're not as open and we're scared to show our feelings
in
almost.
the
That's
real
right.
human connection of just one man to another, one woman to another, one man to a woman, whatever it is. We just don't always. I don't know. It just seems like people kind of hold off a lot of times in America, like are scared to show feelings or scared to show ideas and stuff. I don't
They're
know.
scared of change, I think, too.
Yeah,
you know, they're
and
scared of difference. You know, like they get overwhelmed. You know, or not maybe not overwhelmed, but what's the word I'm looking for?
Let's say there's one thing that I noticed here. When your parents getting older, you need to put them in nursing home. Back home, if you do that, it looks like it's a cursed thing. You know what I mean? Your parents took care of you, so you have to give the same back.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah,
that's
that's
very
really important. But here, they just
And that's
take
kind of
them.
the family values that we're kind of seeing too. you
Yeah,
know?
that's true.
And especially with, I mean, the shootings too. I mean, sometimes you could kind of correlate that like you know, they're not being raised with the nurture and things that you know other
The same care and attention, and
exactly.
haven't always been showed the same love. That those feelings are missing, and then
Like think of the broken homes. I mean, I can't remember what the statistic was, but it's like almost like 45% of you know marriages end in
divorce.
divorce. Yeah, and then you know, I mean, that's not always a bad thing. You know, sometimes that's
It
an
doesn't
opportunity
work.
to grow. Yeah,
But-
definitely. But also, you know, think about from the kids' perspective. You know, then they have to deal with you know two different
Two-
roles, and it's you know it's tough to learn that way. You know, because as a child, that's who your main teachers are. I mean, you go to school and stuff; those people teach you, but your parents are inevitably the people who teach you how to fit in socially and overcome adversity and things like that. And sometimes, you know, kids miss out on that. And I think that's what happens is, you know,
That's-
kids kind of jump off the deep end because they don't have support systems. And
That's true because in Africa, let's say a girl, or he is like around 14, I mean, I can say even 12 years old, her mom has to start teaching her how to cook, you know what I mean? And then stuff like that. And then you as a man, your dad has to teach you how to be a man. And then sometime when you like messing around with, you are a guy and then you messing around with too much girl, your dad's gonna tell you, nah, you're supposed to play with guys, you know what I mean? So it's like,
you hang out with guys. You hang out. Yeah.
sometimes
definitely.
you can even have, I mean, like friends, female friends, but not all the time because it's gonna affect how guys supposed to be. I mean, like that's what they think.
So do you think your society is kind of a male-driven society, like a patriarch?
Patriarch? What you mean by that?
So
I mean,
like the male is viewed as higher than the female,
not really.
or do you think they're viewed as equals? Or
Back
do
home,
they both have very important parts in the system?
let's say everybody is the same, but has even science knows that the guy has like a stronger hormone than the female. So back home, what they're trying to do is like, since you are the guy, you need to protect. I mean, like your sister or your girlfriend or your wife. You know what I mean? So you have to take all responsibility to protect her. You know what I mean? Never. It's like almost the same here. Never hit her. Never do bad stuff to her because thinking about like she gonna be a mom someday and somebody gonna call her mom. So you don't wanna do that to somebody, mom, even though she's like a little child.
Just kind of looking at the
yeah,
future.
that's what
yeah.
they're telling.
Well, and daughter too. I mean, that's somebody's daughter.
Yeah, that's somebody's daughter, and then you don't want that anybody to does that to your sister. So don't do it to somebody's sister or somebody's daughter. So that's like the way they're putting in our mind to kind of like to, and then with that you feel like, oh, that's right. So I need to protect her because it could be somebody. Because back home, my son is your son, and then your girl is my girl. You know what I mean? So there's like connection. It's not like here who people are afraid to take care of someone else, child or someone else, son or daughter. Back home, if you have to go work, you can go to the next door. Since you guys always hanging out and talking and say, okay, I'm going to work at this time, so I want my daughter or my son to stay with me. They're gonna say, okay, there's no problem. They're gonna.
So it's like protecting others.
Yeah,
other sons,
others,
because that could be your son.
Yeah, that's true.
If that was your son, you would want them to be treated.
That's
the same
true.
way. I wanted to kind of, what are some stereotypes that we kind of have of Africa that you would like to like crush? You know, we talked a little bit about, we have the idea of, like, because to be honest, when I think of, like, Africa, I think of, like, lions and plains and, like, things like that. But obviously that's not completely true. You know, that's just the Western thinking.
To be honest, my city is bigger, way bigger than Norfolk. When I compare it to Norfolk, it's way bigger than Norfolk. And then we have skyscrapers. I'm not going to lie. And then you can go on YouTube and Google it. It's like in everything, there is like a good and then a bad. It's always been like that, and nobody can never change it. It's always been like that. To be honest, I didn't know there is like some part on the United States that look like Norfolk. I'm being serious because I thought like everywhere in the United States looks like New York City. That's what I think. And then that's the same case because you guys, you don't know, I mean, like, United States, they don't know about Africa because they never go there that much. So I'm inviting you guys in the future to come to Africa and
see what it's like.
Yeah, what it's
like.
like.
A lot of people are scared. Almost.
Yeah, they think like there's lions. No, the way you got like beat bags, I can get it back home. You got Nike, I can get it back home. You got Adidas, we have Adidas. You know what I mean? It's like almost the same, but United States, America compared to Europe, oh my God, Europe, they know too much about Africa. And then I remember when I was coming here, there is a lady, she's from France, she was born there. I mean, like, she is a white woman. And then when I was coming here, she was, oh, are you going to United States? I said, yeah, why? there's everything here. I was like, no, I'm just going to study and get some knowledge so I can come. And she was telling me, her case, she was saying, I'm not going back in France. I'm going to die in Burkina Faso. Yeah, because there's like, even though we don't have, we don't live at the same level, there is some stuff that, I don't know how to explain it, but you got to go to Africa to say.
Like, you find the joy in the little things.
Yeah, in the little things.
You don't get caught up in all the big things and the everyday things. Like, you just don't take things for granted.
Yeah, it's the culture.
Yeah, it's a culture,
It's how you bring yourself up. What is one thing that you want other people coming to study from, like Burkina Faso or from Africa or anybody coming to study here? What is something that you would give as a good advice for them?
To come and study in Africa, like in Burkina Faso.
Or what advice do you have in general?
In general,
anything.
I would say, first of all, you have to be prepared. Like, you have a good mindset because you're going to have, homesick for sure, no matter who you are, like being born in some place A and then you want to move to place B, so you're going to have like change of culture, the food, the way people behaving. So you have to be ready for that. And then second, if you're coming to my country, be ready to be on summer all year. Because like we have February through October, it's really warm. And then we have 60 degrees and sometimes 55 between October and January, and then
so the weather's nice.
Cold. Yeah, the weather is nice, but compared to because if you're born over there, you're gonna be like, oh, when it's January or December, you're gonna be, oh, it's really cold. But if you're from Nebraska and then you come over there, when people are saying like it's cold, you're gonna be working with jersey or something like that because
t-shirt, shirts,
and then.
I'm sorry, I was just gonna ask. So. Do you experience snow and stuff this winter? Or did you get experience that here?
I got experience. Let's say my first one was in New York. But New York compared to here, oh my God, here is like, it's really cold. Yeah, it's colder here because it's really it's wide open and it's windy.
The wind is probably
in New York, they have like skyscraper and then buildings, so you don't feel that because let's say in New York, many people don't have cars because it's really hard to take care of. You have to pay your insurance. Monthly is going to be at least $200. And then sometimes you're going to park your car 10 blocks away from where you live because there's no parking though. Many people
just ride bikes.
Yeah, ride bikes and using, public transportation that's really cheap. Yeah.
Do you have any more knowledge or anything that you'd want to share with anybody?
Yeah. I would, if you guys, many people think that, because that's my case, like having a superpower is like a myth or is like a fake thing. But I would like you guys to come to Africa and see how people are using like superpower. Have you seen Black Panther, any of you? Like the way the guy is flying, and then I don't know how to say it, but it's like you have to come in Africa to say there is some people, even though you use gun on them, it won't work. And then you guys cannot believe it because you're not from Africa, and then you never seen that kind of stuff. So, and then there's some people, no matter, even they can run through fires. There's like, I don't know how to explain it to you, but you have to. I'm inviting you guys to come in Africa, so to see what Africa is like, and then what is like. Sometimes when you're watching movies, they're doing some kind of stuff, and you guys, oh, that's like
special effects.
Yeah, and then fake and stuff like that. Nah, it's really exists.
Really? So there's like almost a different kind of like
it's like a science.
Human over there.
It's like a science, but since you guys cannot understand it, they're gonna say it's fake. You know what I mean? But it's science. You have to be an African to understand how it works. And then there's one thing I wanted to say. Oh, what was it? Let's say here, if you steal something or you took something from somebody, they're gonna call the cops, and then the cops gonna start like doing investigation, stuff like that, to see if you did it or not. Even though in Africa we have cops and some stuff like that, but there's some people who want to go in African way. They're gonna use like just two brooms, and then they're gonna tell you to like talk to the broom, and then say, okay, if I took it, the broom's gonna catch me. If I didn't take it, so they're gonna leave me alone. So if you didn't take it, when they're gonna pass it through your neck, it won't stack. It's totally like it's gonna be. If you did take it, when they're gonna pass it through your neck, it's gonna get stuck. It's like stuff that I don't know how to explain it, but I want you guys to come in Africa so you can see this kind of stuff. Like in the southwest of my country, every year we have Americans like you guys, those who know a little bit about Africa, so they're coming to get like initiation to, let's say, like a culture called Donzo. It's like hunters. Yeah, their main activities like hunting and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then they have many, I don't know how to say, way to do hunting. And then even though you got attacked by a lion, you won't get hurt because they're going to do some stuff on you. I don't know how to, but you have to come to Africa to see
just to experience it. Yeah, it sounds pretty wild.
Oh my God. And then many people, when they're there, they don't understand it. They call it like, say, how to say it? Like a voodoo or black magic.
That's not real?
Because you cannot understand it. So don't put like
a label like that.
Yeah.
It's like,
so you have to kind of experience it and witness it before you can even judge it.
There is like probability, African probability. They're gonna put like a sand on the floor, and then gonna do like put some drawing and stuff like that to see that even though if you want to learn it, they can teach you. And then you come to me and you say, okay, you know what, I have this and blah, blah, I don't know what's gonna happen, and they're gonna draw it and then tell you that according to probability, so this thing gonna happen in the next few hours.
Really? So they can kind of tell the future a little bit?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Wow.
But many people, because they don't.
Yeah, I would feel like a lot of people would be skeptical of that.
They're gonna be like, you know what? That's some stuff that they've been faking it. I say, okay, bro, because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's fake. So
it's interesting that there's like other people, like there's, people think differently. Different humans think differently from like, continent to continent. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, especially since it's underdeveloped, there's going to be like very intelligent people, just because they think a little bit differently,
mm-hmm.
That will really be able to like, jump the next innovative technology to the next level,
There's people back home that maybe they got only high school, and some people that never been to school, those who live far away from the cities. But they're going to be doing stuff that you don't understand how, like, somebody who didn't go to school for that, building this kind of stuff. It's kind of like...
They're just ingenuitive.
Yeah. They can
put it together. That's interesting.
When I was a child, I used to build my own cars, my own toys. But it was like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like the culture, the way you guys doing it, so you're going to pick it. It's
awesome. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
I'm your host, Hunter Bergman, with
Josh Crim.
If you're interested in finding more out about The ViewPoint, check out our website, anyviewpoint.com, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Also, check out our YouTube channel, The ViewPoint. Do you want people to follow you on social media?
Yeah. I mean, like, on Instagram, my username is Abdul Sor, AZIZ. Yeah.
I'll put it in the description.
No problem. Thanks.